Purport. It is understood from this statement that the opulences of the household life were exhibited in valuable jewels, ivory, first-class marble, furniture made of gold and jewels. The clothes are also mentioned as being decorated with gold filigree. Everything actually had some value. It was not like the furniture of the present day, which is cast in valueless plastic or base metal. The way of Vedic civilization is that whatever was used in household affairs had to be of valuable. In case of need, such items of value could be exchanged immediately. Thus, once broken and unwanted furniture and paraphernalia would never be without value. This system is still followed by Indians in household affairs. They keep metal utensils and golden ornaments or silver plates and valuable silk garments with gold embroidery, and in case of need they can have some money in exchange immediately. These are exchanges for the money lenders and the householders. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So, here is a description of the ashrama of Kardama Muni, which he mystically created. And these descriptions constitute an opulent life, opulent household life of the royalty. Even though Kardama Muni was a rishi, after marrying Devahuti, he gave her a life of royalty, so also him. All these descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam, one may wonder why Bhagavatam has included all these opulent things when spiritual life is about renouncing all these things. The only way we can understand these things is these opulences or any opulences, material opulence, cannot be said to have no spiritual connection. This is far from the normal understanding of renunciation and spirituality. It is a fact that spirituality does not go with these things if they are not connected to the Supreme Lord. If they are not connected to the Supreme Lord, if they are not connected for glorification of the Lord, if they are not connected to the service of the Lord, then everything is rejectable. But the fact is that nothing is rejectable. There is a way to find out, there is a way not only to find out, there is a way to see everything as belonging to Krishna and everything existing in this world for a particular purpose which we may not understand. The rich varieties of material existence is not hated by the devotees. The devotees see that as the opulence of the Lord. In fact, As Prabhupada says, what is modern life? All this modern furniture you cannot compare with the kind of furniture that is being described here. That means there was at least if you see India, known history of India, we don't see all this, we don't hear all these things. That is why sometimes when we say our Indian heritage is very rich, when we tell people like this, then the Westerners, what richer? They laugh at it. Your people were like this. When we went to India, it was like this. All this criticism they say. Actually, the India's glory is not seen so much. If you just simply go back to 300 years, 500 years, 700 years, that is not enough to see India's glories. See what is being described here. Originally, historically, these things were all, existing in this. Of course, this ashram itself is in Himalayas. So these things existed. Somebody may say, what is this, where you did not have electricity? How do you say Indian civilization was so advanced? You didn't even have electricity. Of course, first of all, the Vedic way of life is to utilize daytime maximum. You have filled your day with so many nonsense activities. So you need night time also. So night time very early they used to sleep. Apart from that, something interesting is mentioned here. It said that there was no need of light, for the household was illuminated by the rays of these jewels. Modern world has not heard of it. If there is a diamond, you show light, it will shine back. You take a diamond, today's diamond, keep it in darkness, it will be dark only. Isn't it? Now they are talking of a jewel which has captured the sunlight and it is able to emit. Or even without capturing also, it is able to emit light. Believable? Is it believable? We have not seen it. Is it believable? Actually, if according to modern science, it's very much believable. Radioactive substances, they emit electromagnetic radiation, isn't it? That is the meaning of radioactive element. They emit electromagnetic radiation. And there are radioactive elements who will emit this for 10,000 years, 5,000 years, 300 years, 400 years. What is that called? Half-life of a radioactive element. Different radioactive elements has got half-life. That means, suppose I got 100 grams of one radioactive element. 100 grams of it is radioactive. 100 grams of all the atoms in the 100 grams, radioactive means what? The nucleus is emitting this. Radioactivity is a nuclear reaction. Inside the nucleus, naturally, some particle action is going on and it emits energy. Radioactivity is energy. So half-life of a material, half-life of a radioactive material is, suppose half-life of a material is 300 years. That means 150 years after that you go there and still half of it will be still emitting. Half of the atoms in that will still be emitting. Go after another 150, another 150 years, you will see again half of it is. So every, half-life, the quantity of the atoms reduces by, radioactive atoms reduces by half. Now, it emits radioactive rays. Electromagnetic energy, we all know, it starts very large wavelength from radio waves, microwaves, infrared, microwaves, then visible light. The light that we see is that frequency. There are so many frequencies of electromagnetic. And the radioactive means it emits very high level gamma ray. It is called gamma rays. It emits. Ultraviolet, then X-ray, after that gamma ray. What is this? All these, as you go towards gamma ray, frequency is increasing. So only difference is frequency. All are electromagnetic wave. So in our times we are not able to see this kind of a material which is producing light. But it's very much possible as per even modern physics. It is not impossible. But we have not found a material like that. Because we don't have that. Our civilization is a Shudra civilization. It doesn't deserve all these things. Probably all these kind of materials are lying under the earth. Past civilizations. Lucky people may dig and get it also. So many things that in this material, in this earth itself, we have not understood. Not at all understood. So basically, these kind of jewels, there are different kinds of metals which we do not know. But they say in our tradition, if there is a wound, take that metal and touch it, it will just heal itself, like welding. Your hand is cut, you take that stone and touch it, it will close itself. Oh, no, these are all not believable, you may say. But definitely, man has not understood even material nature. He has not understood material nature. He is trapped in his limited understanding. This material world itself is so wonderful, so mysterious. One cannot just dismiss this material world as simply some illusion. Like Prabhupada, appreciates, takes a rose flower and appreciates. Look at how beautiful it is. Can man create this? Can man create this? To produce one nut and bolt, he needs a huge establishment. But here nature just ordinary. 10 flowers just come up like this. Outside your garden. There is no intelligence. There is no creator for this. There is no designer for this. For those who don't want to believe, yes, all these mysteries will always remain covered. Of course, in the midst of all these things, No doubt, the scriptures say that the goal of human life is to associate with Krishna, to serve Krishna, to glorify Krishna, whether in the material world or spiritual world. The goal is that. And everything that exists is meant for that. It is impossible for a human being to understand the entire creation, which is what the scientists are trying to understand. So once we understand everything, unifying grand unification theory, then we understand everything: gravity, electromagnetism, and they say strong interaction, weak interactions, interatomic attraction. Everything under one formula we'll find out. That is what they have been trying. There should be one equation which will apply to the atoms and which will apply to the heavenly bodies, to the entire cosmos, microcosm and macrocosm. There should be one theory. That's called grand unification theory. They have been trying for that over a century. Einstein also tried. Made his attempt. But it's still going on. People are thinking, but now a century is over, more than a century is over after Einstein's time, and things are becoming more and more bewildering to the scientist. They simply create so much of mathematical theories called string theory and all these things, with no evidence as such. And they themselves say it's a theory, it is not proved. So it's very interesting that in the beginning of science, people thought that we are moving towards knowledge, and 200 years later, the same scientists are saying that we are moving towards ignorance. Why moving towards ignorance? Because when they began science, they thought they are moving towards knowledge, because they didn't know how much is still there to be known. So now they agree we are moving towards ignorance, because the more and more they move towards knowledge, the ignorance is increasing. So this is a way of Krishna bewildering these living entities. It is only the personalistic philosophy of Krishna consciousness that can accommodate the meaning for all these creations, all the wonderful things. Even scientists, they get bewildered. They are full of appreciation of the beauty of numbers, the beauty of patterns, the beauty of symmetry. So many things in nature. It's beautiful. Some mathematicians are like artists. They simply relish the beauty of numbers. This is Lord's creation is unlimitedly complicated, unlimitedly beautiful, because we are tiny persons, we cannot understand. So our constitutional position should be simply to serve Him. Whatever is there, you serve Him. Spirituality, the goal of in Bhakti Yoga, spiritual life is to, first thing that the Bhakti Yogi understands is God is unlimited, His opulences are unlimited. It is not possible by my jnana to understand the glories of the Supreme, one absolute truth, conscious being. It is difficult for a human being to understand. So what is my constitutional position? Not to chase jnana. My constitutional position is to serve the Lord. And that is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagavatam, devotional service. So the creation cannot be taken lightly. Even whatever scientists are discovering, all these things are, the Lord only is allowing them to come out with. Elsewhere, Prabhupada talks about the earlier civilization as everybody used to eat in silver plates and gold plates, all utensils, eating. Now civilization is advanced, we eat in plastic plates, paper plates. And one Prabhupada says that they used to eat the golden plates, the royalty, and just like you throw leaf plates, they used to throw. And rest of the people who cannot afford, they get golden plates. So they also have golden plates in their house. Now beggars will get torn leaf plates. Or those who are, whereas in those days, those who, they get golden plates, silver plates, utensils. All these things are not imagination. It's a question of, time is very relative. You can, if somebody is having mystic power, he can go back in time and he can see all these things. Certain munis have trikalagnas. They can see past, present and future. In fact, that is how all these things are. How Vyasadeva 5,000 years back, how is he writing? 5,000 years back, how he is writing about some other yugas, some incident? Because he is a trikalagni. He is going there, seeing and he is describing. Not that out of his memory somebody told him and somewhere he is telling. No. The literary incarnation of this Lord. So he goes back in time, sees all those things and he describes. He can go in future, then he can describe. That's how he describes. Kalki will come, this will happen, that will happen. How does he describe? Whose son will be born as? What will be the mother of, who will be the mother of Buddha is given in Bhagavatam. 5,000 years back. When was Buddha born? Later. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya's appearance is given as a hidden avatara. Best thing is to remain a fool. But modern tendency is to control nature. That we can control nature. Remain a fool, engage be intelligent in service of the Lord. Don't try to manipulate material energy, which Prabhupada says is the Ugra Karma civilization. Entire civilization is based on manipulation of, science is moving towards manipulating more and more so that we can use the material nature for sense gratification. But you cannot increase all this happiness of human beings by this kind of methods which is contrary to nature's way of living. So much of advancement in science has been made, but look at the irony. The number of diseases have increased. Somebody was saying, it was your Vedic civilization was so advanced, modern civilization is nothing. Then that person replied, did you have CT scan any time? Does your Vedas talk about CT scan anywhere? Today we have CT scan. Our Ayurvedic doctors were so intuitive. See the patient, they can scan. You have created a Shudra machine, CT scan. We created human potential, powerful Ayurvedic Vaidyas. Just see you, he will tell you what is your imbalance. Or at the most, he may just touch for 1 second and prescription is over. Entire body scan is done by holding one thumb. That is a science. So, if because those doctors, that kind of doctors are not there, therefore you need a CT scan. So why CT scan industry, CT scan, all these things you have created, so many modern medical equipments created. So first thing is, you degrade, then to deal with your degraded situation, you need so many technology, and then you forget that you have degraded, then you say, see, technology, this was not there in those days. So this is real advancement. And also, entire purpose of human civilization was not for this kind of a growth. It was meant for spiritual growth. It was not meant for increasing sense gratification. Now everything is going more and more towards gross sense gratification. Sense gratification itself is gross and subtle. So you're going towards gross. For instance, nice, happy family life is very subtle enjoyment. Now every family is disturbed. There is no happiness in family. There is no trust and faith between family members. So is the standard of material happiness increased or decreased? It has decreased. Technology has advanced, but all subtle material niceties of life are disappearing day after day, disappearing. That means the quality of material life, quality of material enjoyment is all degraded. Any questions? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय।